Okay, what is up, guys? I have a replay for you guys. It is using the gadget deck that I profiled the other day up against a Shadolls deck. I was just going to play the replay with the music, but for whatever reason it won't let me upload the video that way. So we're just going to kind of watch the replay with some commentary. So as you can see here, I opened up kind of decent. I opened up with the 2 upstarts and the Call Out 100, and then 1 gadget and 1 Kage to Kage, which is fine because it opens up for rank 4 plays. I can go into King of the Feral Imps and search for another Kage. Plus I can add a gadget to my hand. So let's get right into this duel. So here I go for the King of the Feral Imps, and I search for my Kage. Now that sets me up for next turn. I have my yellow gadget, my Kage to Kage, for another rank 4 play next turn. I didn't use my upstart goblins turn 1. I didn't feel the need to use them, so I didn't. And this is actually the first time I played against Shadolls, so playing them was kind of a learning experience, like a learn as I went kind of thing. So here he went for his Hedgehog's effect. When he activated his trap card, he has to flip Hedgehog. Hedgehog sends Falcon. It's a lot of effects. And then here I went for the King of Feral Imps effect just in case that was Mirror Force. I didn't want to hit Mirror Force. And then my Photon Pop Operative to try and go in for some damage. And then here I call it on my gadget to attack over. I should have added another green gadget to my hand, but I misclicked on that one, so I didn't add it to my hand. Here my opponent goes for Photon Thrasher with their Shadolls Fusion. That card is ridiculous. Your Shadolls Fusion is ridiculous because it lets you fusion summon using monsters from your hand or side of the field. So and if your opponent controls a monster that was special summon from the extra deck, also you can use monsters from your main deck. So pretty much it lets you use every monster in your deck, because most people XYZ or synchro summon, so your opponent's going to have a special summon monster. So then you can use any monster in your main deck as a fusion material or anything in your hand or field, which is crazy. So I think Shadolls are going to be big in a format. Once we actually get them, I know we didn't get them in the TCG yet. We will be getting them hopefully by the end of this year. Looks like a really fun deck. I might try and build them. And then here, it looks like I was going to lose. It actually does. Spoiler alert, I don't lose. I actually win. I turn the duel around. But at this point in the duel, I thought I was going to lose because he did have a pretty well-established board with his fusion, his Goose Duel Emerald, and then his Falcon face down. So then here I go for my upstart goblins to try and get into like an MST or even my Dark Hole to try and do something. And I end up going for my green gadget and Kage to Kage play to go into a rank 4. I go for that Exciton Knight, and then my opponent tries to get Exciton's effect not to activate by discarding Maxi and then activating that, so we had the same amount of cards on the field. But that apparently doesn't work because everything still got destroyed. And then he gets to go for his Falcon again, and I set 3 back row. Well, 2 back row and a Pot of Duality. That's really no use to anyone but little decoy. My opponent goes for Armageddon Knight. I go to Fiendish Chain. I didn't want him sending anything else to the graveyard. He goes for Falcon's effect and sets Lizard. And then he goes for this. This card right here is a pretty decent card if you can get it out, because you target 1 face-up card you control and 1 face-up card your opponent controls. Return those targets to the hand. This card, this turn, you cannot activate cards or effects with the same name as those returned to the hand. So pretty much, this with Shadolls is pretty epic, because if he would have had a Shaddoll face up, he could have just used the Shaddoll for this card's effect. and he gets to bounce back one of my cards on the field, which would be pretty good. For this one, he bounces back his Volk in and bounces my Exciton Knight, and then goes for Midrash. Probably one of the best fusions that the Shadolls have. And then he gets to destroy a card because dragon into the graveyard. And then right here, I make a little bit of a push because I drew into my MST, so I go MST. I drop my gear frame to search for Fortress, and then I special summon Fortress. Now I attack over his Midrash, and then I attack in with my gear frame to get some damage, and try to get the duel rolling in some direction, try and dwindle my opponent down a little bit. I mean, at this point, he's really out of options. He's got his Armageddon Knight that he goes for to dump Hedgehog to add his, I believe it was Beast, to add Dragon to his hand. And then from here, I just go for a Duality to add a Gadget and to deck thin a little bit. I drop my green gadget, search for my red, and then I go to attack in. I attack over his Armageddon Knight, and attack in for a little bit more damage. Now, for being this was my first time playing against Shadolls, I feel like I did relatively well, but it's a very hard deck to play against. It's a very hard deck to play against. And then here I special summon my Fortress. My opponent bottomlesses and maxes because he figures I'm going to go for a synchro play or an XYZ play, and he gets to draw a card. He drew into Wiretap. Doesn't help him out much. I attack into his Dragon. He bounces my Girgan X, and I attack in for 18. So it's a really close game. Well, it was a close game. I thought I was going to lose at first, and I kind of turned it around. Here he drew into Rhoda, but he already exhausted his Armageddon Knights, so he really had nothing to go into. Here I drop my gadget just for the fun of it. I drop my gear frame to defense and attack in with my gadget. So that was the duel. Guys, comment down below. Let me know if you guys like these kinds of videos, like the Dev Pro duels, the replays. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you like these kinds of videos.